Hello everyone, and welcome back to this tutorial about Apigee's local development using Visual Studio Code. This is continuation of our previous videos where we worked through creating a proxy in Visual Studio Code and added some policies to our proxy, like XML to JSON, import quota, verify API key. Then we created some environments in our local um, environment, and then we deployed it on the runtime environment, which is Docker container provided by Apigee, and we did some development on that. Today we are going to continue to learn more about it, and in this video we are going to use something named as property set, which comes with Apigee. And a property set is a custom collection of key value pairs that can store some configuration data which you can utilize in your API proxy. And you can get that data in your API proxy and do some logic or implement some configuration on top of it. So let's think of a scenario where you can use property set. So typically you use property set to store some non-expiring data that shouldn't be hard-coded in your API proxy logic. And you can access property set data anywhere in a proxy where you can access flow variables. So a common use case for property set is to provide values that are associated with one environment or another, depending on, let's suppose you have a dev environment, your some configuration, the backend ID password or backend IP addresses or endpoints may be different. So you can store those in your environment level property set, and then depending on which environment you are running, your proxies can automatically configure and get that data and have this dynamic use case, dynamic behavior where you do not have to modify your proxies and they can run without any changes on different environments. For example, you can have a prod environment property, you can have test environment property. So today we are going to create one property set on our local environment, and we are going to utilize that to change our target behavior. So if you remember, in previous tutorial, we were using this mock target apg.net endpoint or hostname to call this XML endpoint. So what we are going to do, we are going to put this XML part as inside a property set, and from there this path we will take directly from property set. Instead of hard coding it here as XML, we will put it in a property set, and it can be different, like you can have different endpoints for different proxies where you might want to hit, so you can do based on that as well. So keep in mind, there are some restrictions on what you can configure where. So if you're using a HTTP target connection as a target endpoint, you are only allowed to configure the path, not the host name. But if you are using it as a service callout, in a service callout you are using HTTP target connection, then you can make this also as a variable. But in case you want to have this target endpoint completely dynamic, you can utilize some JavaScript policy and change the request parameter for this target endpoint, and then you can make that dynamic as well. So I'm not going to cover that, but I'm just going to show today how to make this property set utilization in our local environment. So I'm going to use this dev local environment to deploy our proxy. So before that, we need to create some resource that is for this environment. So to do that, we have to go to environment and create a resource. So as I said, all these property sets are environment dependent. So if you want to have different different property set values, so you may have to go to both different environments and create a set there. So let's click on this dev local environment and click on this part. And now it's going to give you option of what to do. So you can create a Python script, JavaScript, Visual, different things, but we are going to see and do property set implementation. So let's enter a name here. It can be dev local property set. This is my resource name. And now my resource is available. So what it is going to do, it's going to create a resource folder inside that property. And now I have this dev local PS property. So I'm going to name my property as target underscore and target path, and my path will be XML. So this is the property which we are going to utilize in our target endpoint configuration. And to get access to this property, what we have to do, we have to use curly braces and then input property set dot, and then our property set file name or the resource name, that is in our case is dev hyphen local hyphen ps, and then dot target URL. So this is how you will be able to make the call, and it will be able to replace this. Now let's see if it works. Let's make the deployment. Now let's test it. We will deploy, and this time we are going to deploy with our test without our test bundle, because we have not changed anything on the test bundle. And it is going to go ahead and do the deployment. And let's see, active deployment, and we have hello world proxy. Let's choose this, and this is correct. Let's send the request. Okay, so it is, I think I made some mistake in naming. So what did I say? Oh, okay. It should be property set, not property, PRO. Property set. So let's deploy it again. Property set, target URL. I think target path. Oh, I again made another mistake. It is not target URL, it is target path. So final time, let's try, hopefully. So this time it is able to make the call, and still we are able to get that XML path. So with previous two error, you were able to see that it is trying to find that property set path, and it is trying to get that value. So maybe right now we have this XML to JSON thing. Otherwise, you will be able to see this. So let's do one thing. We will remove this XML to JSON step, which we added, and then let's deploy it again. And this time we should get an XML. So now we are getting an XML back. And if this time I just go, instead of XML, I change the path here, I should be able to get different value, because my end target itself is capable to send me XML or JSON based on the path. So now I am able to make property set usage, and with this you will be able to make different changes and utilize property set in your local dev environment also. So today, till this point, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.